Romance and Chinese civilization. We'll talk about Chinese most valued contribution, the same thing for the Romans. Then we'll talk about Chinese and Romans decline. And to end with this presentation, we'll speak about Chinese and Romans influence in the modern world. So, many Chinese discoveries were made under the Han Dynasty. For example, they are the origin of magnetic compasses, paper, wheelbarrows, seismograph, hot air balloon, looms, cast iron, and the Silk Road. This road was invented when the Chinese invented silk, and other dynasties also wanted to have it. The loom helped to make silk. The discovery of cast iron has considerably improved tools and weapons, making them stronger and more efficient. The invention of paper is one of the greatest inventions of the Chinese, and the seismograph helped them a lot because China was very affected by earthquake. Similarly, the compass has allowed Chinese sailors to navigate more safely and discover new places. For example, thanks to the magnetic compass, the Chinese discovered the Indian coast. These are only inventions made under the Han Dynasty, but the Chinese inventions are more significant. Casket and urns are also a Chinese invention. The first coffin found date back to 5,000 years before Christ. The chopstick, but also the fork, were first used in China. The forks were made of bones and were a sign of nobility. It was only around the year 500 that chopstick became popular in Asia. Gunpowder was also one of their inventions. The Chinese have always been concerned about their health, which is why they've developed very early on a high performance medicine based on healthy lifestyle. For example, in 1330, the first book on healthy eating was published. Ancient Rome was probably one of the greatest empires of antiquity. This civilization has left us a legacy of some useful inventions that have been improved and used since then. For example, the Romans invented concrete and used it to build public buildings such as the Pantheon. In the same way, they are at the origin of paved road. They were building trade routes, and there were rules for road construction and maintenance. These roads were so good that some of them still exist and are even used today. The Romans were very commuters in terms of roads. They were also the originator of kilometers maker, and they built rest area every 10 miles. The Romans were also at the origin of the newspaper. They used to use to convey messages. The scrolls were distributed or displayed in the streets. Of course, there are other inventions better known to the Romans, such as aqueduct, the art of war, art, wine, or medicine. The end of the Han Dynasty marked the decline of the Chinese civilization. This decline begins with revolts and usurpation of political power. Later, the country exploded into a mosaic of principalities where the lord fought several wars. Finally, the Han Dynasty fell and China rose again with the new Jin Dynasty. For many years now, barbarian people have been trying to bring down Rome and the entire Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was very prone to corruption, taxes were poorly collected, and the economy was in poor shape. In addition, the size of the Roman territories posed administrative problems, and enemies took the opportunity to attack on all fronts. More generally, we can say that it was authoritarianism that led to the fall of the empire. Today, the Han Dynasty is still very much present in China. For example, the majority ethnic group is called Han. The writing system is called Han characters. The traditional costume is called Han clothing, and the Chinese language is known as Han language. As we have seen with its many inventions, China has long influenced the rest of the world, starting with Asia. His inventions, such as paper, silk, seismograph, and compass, are things that all civilization use today. Although some, such as the compass for example, were also invented by some other civilization, the Chinese remain at the origin of many inventions. But China's influence can also be found in his art, cultures, painting, and drawing. Indeed, China has developed a unique art from other thousands of years. China is known for its jade sculpture and jewelry, pottery and performing art, martial art, dance, or song. Because the Roman Empire was vast and developed, we now use many things they invented. When the empire still exists, we talked about Romanization, which shows the importance of Roman contribution in our lives. As explained earlier, the Romans were at the origin of roads and many infrastructures, such as aqueduct or the use of concrete. Today in Europe, is it quite possible to see traces of the Roman Empire? We have many aqueducts that were built under the Roman Empire. The same is true of the triumphal arches, which were built in honor of the Roman generals. Although the Romans were strongly influenced by the Greek in terms of architecture, and religions, today we find many art objects developed during the Roman Empire. Today, everything that the Romans left us is part of their culture and historical heritage. We can see a lot of their art in museums, which shows that Roman influence remains important today.